Mindset Arc Podcast, episode 38. Hello, everyone. Hey, I know you want to improve. Probably, if you're listening to this, you are into self improvement, you are into becoming the best version that you possibly can be. So, you have a lot of goals that you want to achieve. And today, I want to talk about these goals that we set up for ourselves and how this goal achieving, the process of setting up a goal and working on it until the end, if it is possible, is a loop. With every goal that we set up for ourselves, what do we start from? We start from not knowing anything. We don't even know that we want this goal until it is in our head, right? So how do we think about something that we don't yet know that we can achieve? We are calm about it. Just imagine anything that you don't really care about. If you don't care about some goal, if you don't yet have a lot of anxieties, a lot of fears that are correlated to that goal, to the process of working on it, you don't really care about it that much. You don't pay attention to it a lot. And so you are at peace, at least considering that goal. Creating some business or creating some website, blogging, taking photos, whatever do you want to do. It is some weird sense that it is the current reality and it didn't yet click that it can change. But what happens after, when you actually decide that you really want to have this goal, that you start working on it, and in the process of working you encounter almost immediately a lot of fears, a lot of some struggles, some challenges that you need to overcome, and you gain knowledge, but with the knowledge you gain even more anxiety, and so it just keeps ramping up. And I think at this stage it is easy to get caught into the notion that this goal achieving, at least with this particular field that you're trying to improve yourself, will always associate with a lot of anxiety, with constant challenges, with constant overcoming of whatever struggles you will encounter on the way. It can turn into just going through the motions because you have to overcome, because you have to create some challenges to achieve, to overcome, because these, if it becomes too easy, it doesn't seem like you're making progress. I think with every goal we have this fallacy at some point that we need to push through it, even with some really strange goals like I have right now, like focusing on peace, focusing on gratitude. You would think that it requires letting go and releasing a lot. It requires not pushing and not caring that much. But even with that goal, now sometimes I push myself into feeling peaceful, and it I don't know yet how it works in my mind, but it can happen. You can push yourself into feeling positive. You can push yourself into feeling not caring, peaceful, and grateful to someone. And I think it is required. It is required in this initial climb to that goal, to that peak, when you actually gain knowledge. You gain a lot of understanding that you didn't have before. It may seem hard at the start, or it may seem simple, but when you start working in some field that you haven't done before, with all of this wisdom that you get from just experience, you also know new challenges that you haven't noticed before. So it creates a lot of anxieties and fears. And I think that is the most logical process, and everyone understands that to achieve something, you need to put in enough effort. But interesting things happen after. It is like a peak. It is almost like the middle uh, point of working on some goal, even earlier than it may happen almost immediately, that you gain enough knowledge and you already know what you have to do, and you think that is the only thing that can get you to this goal. So it's a little bit of arrogance, I think. It's not even a little bit, it's a lot of arrogance at the start, because you had to go through a lot of challenges, you had to push through, and there is this pride that says to you that, oh, I know better now, I know this way is the right way, I need to follow it and I will have success. That may be true, but it is not sustainable. Just imagine how long will you be able to keep up some goal that causes you extreme anxiety and constant challenges. If you care that much about something, you will probably burn out. Maybe that can happen in a couple of months, maybe that will happen after 10, 20 years. Yeah, I would argue that is enough time to just achieve everything that we could possibly imagine. And anyway, it will cause a lot of, and just to have like 10 years of constant anxiety even while making progress doesn't seem like a good deal for me. You can have your own views on this, you can have your own rule books. Of course, if you like this chaos of solving problems, yeah, go for it. That's okay. But I think at every goal there comes a moment when this arrogance, when this knowledge, like you know what you have to do, it becomes counterproductive. It stops you from seeing the alternative ways of achieving the same thing. Remember, you already amassed enough knowledge, you already amassed so much of it. We think if we stop ramping up this pressure, if we let go of this pride, that this is the way it has to be done, we will just fall back to the beginning when we didn't know how it needs to be done, right? Think about it. I think that is the fear that pushes us to push ourselves constantly. Because if you let go the only way how it worked until this point, what else would work? It has less chance of succeeding. Like it's not, you don't know anything but this thing that you were working on, this process that you were working, you were using to work on your goal. But think about it also in the way that if you won't let it go, if you will stick to only one process, that only one technique that you mastered, and you don't know anything else, you cannot get more knowledge. Getting more knowledge after that, progressing further into your goal, requires you to let go of this arrogance, requires you literally to let go of this assuredness, being constantly knowledgeable. It's like getting more knowledge requires you to admit that you don't know much yet, and that there are other approaches that can work. Right? There is this famous quotes that, well, it's hard to come up with them on the spot, right? That the more you know, the like something like the more you know, the less you know. So the more knowledge you gain, the more you understand that there is actually even more to learn about. And so that is what needs to happen there. And if you hanging on to your arrogance to this one thing that worked, you won't notice alternative ways. You will have a closed mind, and you need to open that. You need an open-mindedness to progress at any goal, at anything, at any area of life. You just have to see other ways. You have to see how other people approach this thing, just how you could approach, how what worked before, what maybe doesn't work. You need to see alternatives to just progress further. And what ends up happening when you let go of this arrogance, when you actually admit that, okay, I have to learn more, but you already have knowledge, you already cannot fall back. So with letting go of this arrogance, just relaxing, it's more about trust in yourself and in your knowledge that you already gained, that you already know better, and just relying a little bit on intuition, on your experience, on that everything will happen in the best possible way. You can rely on that after you gain some experience. And then, yeah, you just let go of this one technique that worked before. Maybe you take, or let's take photography, you take photos only uh, the single way, or you like doing only portrait photos and something like that. But you can try different stuff. You can try different lenses. You can try taking photos of moving objects, of static, of macro, and a lot of other stuff. And some of that you may hate, some of that you may actually like, some of that you can combine after. But letting go of this arrogance that I had it, like that is my experience, that I only like portrait photography. Yeah. And after letting that go, I know that, okay, I can learn something in different fields and with other areas of life as well. Something like that happened. I had to let go of me constantly using my, I was creating schedules for my day. I was blindly following something that I created before. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself. And to actually enjoy what I was doing and to learn something more, to actually have the energy to learn something more, I had to let go of this strictness a little bit. In some way, just stopping doing these schedules. I still have like strictness with sleep from time to time, but even that I can let go at some points. And I learn more. I learn more by just messing around with it. Just experimenting and seeing what happens. And that gives me knowledge. And more importantly, that gives knowledge and that gives more peace about that goal. You can relax knowing that you have enough knowledge for it to turn out okay eventually. Or for you to understand that, okay, this technique cannot work for me. Either I don't like it, or it doesn't work for my business or for my goal, and just know that and try something else. It's like we're passing some point of no return. After that, we can relax because the knowledge, the intuition, the experience will carry us forward. And just relaxing, just relaxing into these ideas that we have in the mind and just trying them, removing this knowledge about outcome, getting more into outcome independence territory, just believing that everything will turn out okay. You actually start enjoying working on your goals more. You actually start just enjoying the process. You're not there for the result. You can like a result. We all like results, right? We started our goals for the result, to get something out of it. It doesn't have to be like that all the time. We can enjoy the results, but we can also enjoy the process of working on achieving these results. And that's what happens when you let go of this arrogance, of this idea that you already know the winning path. And you allow yourself to see that there are other paths that you can take. And that is actually fun to experiment. So yeah, that is the idea I wanted to make you aware of. That at some point it's okay to let go. And it may feel like you literally giving away your power. It can feel like that. It can feel like you're falling back, because that's what happens. But remember that you're not falling back to where you was before. It is impossible. You have a lot more knowledge now. You have a lot more experience. You're just reducing the amount of worries that you put into it, amount of structure, amount of strictness. You're relaxing, just accepting different kinds of results. And so back to the point why I consider that every goal setting, goal achieving is a loop. You might look at that. We go into this and we go from the state where we didn't really care about the outcome because we didn't yet know it or didn't believe that it's possible. Then we start working on it and it ramps up. And then we are at the point that we think we know everything. We know how to achieve everything. But to gain more knowledge, that requires you to let this go again. And you get more results with knowledge. And it's gonna be easier to achieve them because you will have less anxiety, less structure. You will enjoy more. And so you're basically going back to not really caring about that. Not really, I'm not talking about not caring about the goal itself, about the process itself. No, you will care, of course, because you want that, right? But you will care less about the outcome you achieve, because deep inside, you know that you already know some knowledge how you can achieve that result, so you can repeat that again. So you're not so focused on not getting the desired outcome for some time, because you know if you want to, you know how to get it. And you're basically relaxing because you know that you can get the desired outcome whenever you want to. But it is just fun to try something else and see if something will be even more efficient and more enjoyable to do for the same result, or even for the better result. So that is the concept I wanted to give you today. And yeah, have fun with it.